Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. You're joining us later than I had intended, but first day of school is tomorrow for my kids. It is August 11th, about 9 o'clock. It's a Monday. It's Kirk and Josh. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. How are you doing?
We're in it. It's just real off-season depth vibes, and I'll go ahead and just be honest with the team. So you had a long planned time off, which was good for you, and I did not. Neither did you. We neither one noticed that it overlapped with this incredibly long planned transition of our website from one back end writing system to another. Mavs Moneyball has gotten a bit of a lift. There's some things that we have to clean up on it, of course. But I'm a little can't read any. I'm actually this is interesting. I'm like people are already unhappy with us with some of the changes on the site, but I can remember when that happened right after I joined in like 2013. We changed from one system to another, and nobody liked that either. But we'll get there.
People don't like change. That's common.
Which I frankly don't blame them, because I more or less, like, and I'm a Salesforce administrator for my day job. I ignored, like, I read everything, but I was just kind of like la 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 when it came to like, okay, we're actually gonna have to do this. And so the site changes over from one backend system to another. The people who are in charge of the transition goofed up some really basic stuff, which happens. Like, it just, if you've ever worked for a company that changes systems, there's things you can know, there's things you can't know, and then there's things you can't even possibly imagine. And so there's just some silly stuff going on. So I spent like one whole night like being like, can I quit? Is this a thing I can do? And then, everything sort of evened out. And if you check out the Mavs Moneyball site, there's, it top lines a few of our stories a little better. We're not really like, there's going to be more scrolling involved. The main change on top is this element called the feed. And shout out to Mad Eye Moody saying he can't read any of the feed stuff. Well, that's because we're not posting anything, and because it's slightly broken. And essentially what the goal of this new feed thing is, and I'll just do a screen share so everybody can see if you're watching on video. If you're not watching on video, go ahead and head over to Mavs Moneyball and take a look when you have time. There's this section here called the feed. And what you can do, and what like the end goal is to start posting things kind of like an internal Reddit board, where for something that isn't like a full site like post, something we are not going to get 300 or 400 words out of, like somebody's funny tweet, something, like a highlight video, things like that, you'll start to see different things in here, where it's like, I posted this one of Paige scoring a whole bunch of buckets, and it pops up in here, and you can view it and comment on it and that sort of thing. And of course, like everything else in every new system, there's lots of bugs, and you're starting to see that. Now, the nice part about that for us is that it's the off season, so nobody really cares. We're posting like one thing a day. Shout out to the diehards who are here with us and there with us and that sort of thing, because it's just there's not like a ton to talk about. Like, you picked an ideally perfect time to go away, because it's not like you missed anything. The only thing you're going to have to do is figure out how to use this damn system. I mean, it's sort of maddening. I mean, we bitched about this for weeks. Like, Eurobasket is back, and like, there's no reason for us to talk about it.
Nope.
I wish it did.
But I know there isn't. The feed though is pretty cool, because we have so many people, commenters, that like it's kind of weird that we still have people that like to comment on a website in 2025.
We're grateful for them, though.
Right. For sure. It's cool. And you would do a really good job of keeping like game threads and daily threads, because sometimes, like, if we went like a day or two without posting, our commenters would be like, okay, I'm just going to use whatever latest post is on the site to comment about things. And that's not that's because they want to talk and they want to. So I feel like the feed, like, at least once we get the kinks ironed out and it starts working the way it should, hopefully that will be a good spot for like our commenters to be able to like do that stuff without having to like go into a post and comment about something that's
well, and for anyone, there's two types of internet den citizens. There's people who've spent time on Reddit and people who've avoided it like the plague. And if you are a Reddit user, it can actually be quite incredible because the sharing and things that go on a Reddit board, it's just a rapid flow of information in a way that's very different than Twitter, which is kind of just a bunch of people yelling at each other. So I don't know. We're going to figure it out. We will start updating the site more. We'll all figure out how to use it. I mean, there's 25 people on the Mavs Moneyball staff. And it's very funny just figuring out who does and doesn't read the emails that we get sent out, where it's like our guy David Trink was like, yeah, so I've not paid attention to anything. How do I log in? And I'm just like, after like 2 days of dealing with it, where I'm like eye twitching. It's the best. It's the best.
Hey, I sent you a message on Slack. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think you're using your laptop microphone, not your podcast microphone. I just noticed.
That is correct.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Good to know right now. How's that? Better?
Yeah, that's better.
Let me see. I might need to just reload.
I mean, the joys of live podcasting. I probably should have caught it earlier. But no, I like the new site stuff, and we'll wait for Kirk to hop back in here. But even if you don't, if you don't like Reddit, I think that kind of style
there
will help. All right, you back?
How do
Hello.
I sound?
You sound better.
Okay, good. This is
sorry
a podcast, as I like to remind people. Yeah, like so I do want to talk about some of the stuff I noticed on kind of Mavs social media this week, just because I found that I've been looking around today and just some fun stuff. When you were out, did you talk to any, like when you're gone, did you happen to have any Mavs adjacent conversations with any of the people in your life?
Not particularly. I think some conversations came up around Cooper, like, are you excited about Cooper and that kind of stuff. I did think it was funny. So my event that I went to was at the Gaylord in Grapevine.
Oh yeah.
And the sports bar there, to get from my hotel room to the convention center, I have to cut through the sports bar. That's the fastest shortcut. And the sports bar still has like a 10-foot by 10-foot poster of Luka prominently displayed with one of his Mavs jerseys next to it, framed in the sports bar. And it was just another reminder. It was like, man, like that. So there's not even commenting on like the trade in terms of all this stuff, and not even saying like fire Nico. Like, just that has like, because that staff is just like, I don't want to
look at this anymore. Yeah,
and they don't want to, the time and effort it takes. Like, they got to call out their maintenance staff, and they got to take it down, and they got to find something else. Like, you just don't think about all the, like, when something like this happens, and people are like, just get over it. It's not a big deal, and it's like, okay, but even if I'm not mad about it anymore, there's just still like all these little things that just, death by 1,000 paper cuts. And I just thought it was funny because like a lot of people walk through there. The Gaylord Texan Hotel is a resort in Grapevine, Texas. A lot of people are in that hotel every day, all year. So presumably a lot of people are still like, there's what do you call it? It is imperative for them to, you would think, to make changes, but obviously they haven't. I just thought that was funny. It was just another reminder. It's like, man, you just can't avoid that stuff. But otherwise, that nothing really came up. The group I went to, like, we've already, like, there's nothing else to talk about. Like, it's not like the people I saw were a lot of people I don't talk to regularly. So it was more, I don't think that's the big thing. I think everyone's kind of ready to like not talk about that kind of stuff, and I think people are just ready to see what the team looks like. The problem is it's hard to talk about the current team because we've discussed this on how many 8 pods in a row, it feels like. It's hard to talk about the new team because they're so theoretical.
Yes.
So like there's only so much we can talk about because it's like this group just hasn't played together.
Well, and
that's the hard part.
That actually allows for kind of a pivot into the first thing that I was sort of thinking about. So the Mavs social media has done a nice job publicizing a lot of, Cooper Flagg went to camps and he has some workout videos. Like they're leaning into the Cooper, which is what they should do. But there's also just not really anything else going on here. Like they show an actual like remarkably incredible Cooper Flagg golfing, the happy trying the Happy Gilmore swing, and I like golfing is hard. Side note, golfing is really hard. On his fourth attempt, he makes contact with the ball in a way that's so. If you have ever tried golfing, it's so remarkably impressive. We're just like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a professional athlete. He just knows how to do stuff. And anyway, it's like the social media the last couple of weeks have been pretty funny. Like even these guys don't really know what to post about. Just because it's that type of year, they don't really know what the team's going to be like. There was an Instagram video that was really highlighting all three centers that the Mavericks have. And it just leans into a little bit of what Josh and I have found funny about this. We did get, I forgot about this because there's a couple of pieces of news that are worth, bumping a little bit here. The Mavericks, like the first inklings of the Mavs schedule, have started to come out, and the first one was, did you see the Mavs somehow play on Christmas?
Of course they do.
So this happened.
Save that. I don't think if they have Cooper, I don't think they play on Christmas.
See, I don't know.
Well, are they playing? They're playing the Lakers, right?
No, they're playing the Golden State Warriors in the
that's right, the
second to last game, which like personally I was furious about because, and bear with me here, everyone that knows that we have families and are doing this as side hustles, a mid-evening Christmas game is the type of game where my wife will behead me because the game will start right around like kid adjacent bedtime stuff. And it's like after Christmas Day where everyone's really excited and everyone's kind of emotionally burnt out. I just look forward to like, oh, you're not going to watch that. You're only watching the second half. That was one piece of news, but it's at Golden State at night, which is, sure. Why not? And then the Mavericks are expected to kick off the season, against the San Antonio Spurs, which makes me laugh.
Well, that's good. I like that.
I do too.
I really need rivalry. Like that's my childhood. I mean, yeah, like that's where my Mavs fandom like grew initially. Were those Mavs Spurs games in the early 2000s with Dirk, and even the mid to early 2010s. Like those Dirk Duncan matchups were amazing. I mean, they were always the barrier, right? Like that was always like the Mavs will never win until they can get past San Antonio. And that's why 2006 felt so special. So if they can like rekindle that with Cooper and Wembanyama for the next 10 to 15 years, knock on wood that Cooper doesn't
Dylan Harper too.
Addiction. Yeah, and Dylan Harper. Yeah, that's right.
And that's the real rub. It's number one versus number two. And I want to say, I could be misspeaking, and this would really be easy to check, but I'm not going to do that. I'm pretty sure that the first time the Mavericks have played the Spurs in each of the last two seasons, Derek Lively has kicked Wembanyama's ass. Like I could be wrong about that, but
I know his rookie opener he did really well. I can't remember last season.
Lively did. Yeah,
Lively's. Now I'm just curious. I want to look it up. He had 15, 11, and 6 assists.
We were
in the
I remember this now. Very excited about that one. That's 2 games that we know of, and then I just dug up the third one. This is a per Mark Stein that were the next season's Mavericks Lakers marquee will be meeting in the regular season, if the schedule holds, will be at the end of November in the NBA Cup. Because remember, they were in that group. And, of course, that game will end up – like these NBA Cup games, we get annoyed with them because it's like they're trying to make fetch happen. but it's in season series when you're playing against other Western Conference teams, it is actually kind of important. NBA Cup or no, so we know 3 games there, 3 interesting spots. I don't know if that will be home or road. Stein's not able to announce. Stein has said, and it's like the NBA schedule, for anybody paying attention, is going to be released piecemeal over the next couple of days because the schedule is spread out between ESPN, Amazon, and Peacock. So it's going to be it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to watch the NBA, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But those are kind of like the main sort of pieces of news. Next week we should be able, because we'll record on the 18th. We should know a lot more about the actual schedule itself, so we'll be able to read into that a little bit more. Was there any other kind of a news adjacent stuff?
I'm sorry, but you're asking the wrong guy.
Good. No, that's perfect. We're good at this. We're professionals. So no, but nothing kind of no, but that's it. Really is like dead of August. Like there's Cowboys chicanery, there's Rangers stuff. Like there's just not a lot of basketball. And
I mean, we got Mavs preseason schedule. Did we talk about that? Anyone interested in Mavs?
Well, it's kind of nice because on the one hand, I like having news to talk about. On the other hand, it is sort of nice to be able to take a mental break from basketball in a way we've not been able to do when Luka was on the team, because there was always international play, particularly post-COVID. So, we'll see what's going on there. Robbie Lewis makes a point of this. He noted that the Game 7 documentary on Amazon was awesome. Talked quite a bit about that Mavs Spurs game back in 2006. I've actually not caught that yet. Robbie, can you send me like a link on Twitter? I just need to remember to go do this. So
it's on Prime. It's good. It's weird. It's weird because obviously the footage and the interviews with the players and the coaches, that stuff is 10 out of 10. There's 2 weird things about it. They try to tie in the Mavericks overcoming the Spurs in 2006 to like 2011. But it's like 2011 happened 5 years later, like that, like beating the Spurs, that like there was a lot happened in between that 2011 and the way they present it. They make it sound like after they beat the Spurs, they like won the title shortly thereafter. Like that was their final hurdle.
Nope.
Like, no, a lot else happened between that. And then like some of the journalists and reporters that they chose to interview, there's one guy in it. I know he's
I heard about this. It's like it's way too much of him.
Yeah, he's in it a lot, and he's not a Dallas-based, as far as I'm aware. I don't think he's from Dallas, but he's not a Dallas-based reporter, and he's like the main journalist that they interview in this. So it almost makes me wonder if he was like the only one that like responded to the email or something for interview requests. There's some there. Yeah, Robbie Lewis. He's a UFC guy. I've seen him do a podcast with WWE.
I know him. He's a really knowledgeable sports guy. Hawani? Is that? Gosh, I think it's. I'm gonna. He went on Simmons' podcast a whole bunch. I know exactly what you're talking about. I like hearing him talk about sports, but he's not connected to the Mavericks in any real way.
Right. Or the Spurs. So like they could have probably, I mean, there's some Dallas people they got on, but I feel like they could have done a better job representing the local towns in terms of getting those reporters in there, or the people that were there at the games. But the players and the coaches stuff, that stuff's awesome. And then seeing the footage is awesome.
We like that one a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna insert some ads here, and then we will be back. There's a couple of questions I got off Twitter, and Josh and I probably haven't at all prepared for Remember Some Guys, so we'll see.
I got one for you.
Oh, you got one? Then I can't wait to hear it. I was not prepared at all. All right, we'll be right back. Just let us insert some ads. Thank you so much for bearing with us, guys. Just gonna be real honest with you, and I'm gonna be a little bit more honest with this as we lead up into the season. As you guys know, we've been moved around from podcast network to podcast network. The year that we hit 1 million downloads was the same year our parent company Vox decided to punt our podcast and go with much more expensive brand name options. Is what it is, but they really kicked us in the shins. Since then, we spent a couple of years at one company. We're now with another company. As we go on, it gets a little bit more difficult for Josh and I to justify the time we have involved in this. I would love opinions from our readers and listeners on what if we were to start a tip jar type thing, which one we should use. We don't want to do YouTube. I appreciate all you guys who donate who have been sending us money through YouTube, but YouTube actually takes like half of that money. So, and we're not so bold as to go paywall. We're at least not yet. And so I would like some feedback on what you guys think we should do as like options with this sort of thing. We have some really good fans. And I'm going to pick Kevin. Yeah, thank you. Kevin Gray Sports, one of our friends and also competitors in the space, telling us to set up a Patreon. I just need to talk to some people about this. I'm open for options because I don't know. It's as we get older and we fill our lives with more and more things to do. Like I'm going to have to be like recording from next year at my kids' basketball practice. Anyway, just
and I'm in a closet.
Which, by the way, your background, like you're getting more. We appreciate the Doom thing behind you. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, so I asked anybody to post some questions, and we got some good ones in short notice. This is like an hour before. Friend of the show Tyler shared with me a Mark Stein tweet, which I'd managed to miss from a week, like 12 minutes before I asked the question. I don't even know if you've seen this. Stein says the Lakers are hiring Jeremy Holsopple as their strength and conditioning coach. As the Dallas Athletic Performance Director, Holsopple was named the NBA's top strength and conditioning coach in March of 2021. What is going on with this Mavs Lakers wife swap? This is weird.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's both weird and like, of course they're going to hire all of Luka's guys. That's kind of
that's true though. Though
like,
somebody responded to me was like, "Do you really want to hire a guy that was there when Luka got up to his highest weight?" And I laughed my ass off at that one because that's actually a pretty good point. 2021 was when Luka rolled into camp at his that was the year that set the Luka fat standard. And yes, there are pictures, so there's no point in anyway. That just the wife swap element of this all, because it's like the Mavs are doing the same shit. They're bringing over all the Lakers people
from 2020.
It's like if you're trying to, it's really interesting to try to build the 2020 Lakers without LeBron James yet.
Yeah. Don't hold your tongue on that one. Let's revisit that one in a year from now.
God. Oh my God. Anyway, that question just sort of tickled me. Our friend Josh, or another Josh, asked for me to rank the K-pop Demon Hunter songs. Not going to do that until you've actually listened to it, or watched it. I've watched it twice. I've watched it twice since, Josh. I'll put it to you like this: my 9-year-old who never watches anything twice has watched it 2 more times.
I think what we've decided is me and Megan are going to try to watch it and make sure that it's like we feel like it's okay for Maddie since she's 4 and that's like right on the cusp of like, would this give her nightmares or something weird?
Well, that was actually why I pitched it to you, because another guy, a podcaster I follow, has 2 who recommended it. It's Sean Fennessy, the Ringer, has a 4-year-old daughter, and he's like, she jammed out to it.
Okay. All right.
That was why. All right. But anyway, so next question. Friend of the pod, Jose, asks, out of the season opener, so we know Spurs, Mavs, the Cup game, Mavs, Lakers, and the Christmas game, which of those are you most excited to watch? And then he has a second question, but we'll go with this one first. That's a good one. I like that. Are you going to stick with your Spurs pick?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Spurs because I'm just excited. I want to see Cooper's first game, and that's going to be fun. It's also, knock on wood, it should be guaranteed the healthiest game the Mavericks.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Like, so if we want to get some data on what this freaking team looks like, that's probably going to be the best opportunity, because presumably that will be when everyone is healthy besides Kyrie Irving.
Right.
And we do not know if everyone will be healthy by Christmas. Wow. Knock on wood. So give me that, because we know at least at the most of the important pieces besides Kyrie should play in that game. Of course, Anthony Davis is going to tweak an ankle.
Absolutely. No,
I've ruined it. But that's my rationale.
10 of 10, or he's going to have one eye because he's not dealing with an eye infection.
I
got an incredible conspiracy theory take from a Mavs media member that I will share with you off the air about Anthony Davis's injury stuff that he just must have been bored and thought of me, which, I'm glad all of you who think of Mavs conspiracy, like, I'm glad, like, think of me, talk to me. I want to hear this. It's good. But all right. So I think my answer, you already know I don't want to do the Christmas game. Like I remember being so excited about the first one. Now it just fucks with my life too much. So I'm going to have to go to the Mavs Lakers game, but not for the reason that, if people do, if it is in a game in Dallas, if people do happen to chant fire Nico, so be it. Luka and Flag spending time on each other, because that will just happen based off of the Mavs roster.
He's absolutely going to have to guard Luka.
That sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that just sounds fantastic.
They're both, their psycho competitive mindsets will be really fun to watch.
One burns cold, one burns hot. Give me that every day of the week. That sounds really, really exciting. Jose, thank you so much for that first good question. Then he says, this is an interesting one because I think it's far enough out that it's hard to guess. Who out of the Mavs roster will make the All-Star team? So before you answer that, you remember there's 3 parts to All-Star voting. There's the fan voting, which is how LaMelo got the most fan votes, and then no one voted him into the actual All-Star team. Shout out to the Zaza Pachulia movement several years ago when he was almost an All-Star due to the whatever was happening. Then there's 25% 25% players, 25% media. So what do we
coaches, right?
Oh yeah, sorry. 25% coaches. Yeah, players don't get a vote, do they?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. Either way, the other people get a vote and it gets a little screwy. And that's kind of the point. That's by design. So who'd you think?
Davis feels, if Davis can stay healthy, it's probably him, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. He might lose some of the fan vote because he doesn't have the LA bump anymore. But production-wise, I would imagine he has to be. He has enough cred from players, coaches, media. If he's averaging 25 and 12, he'll be an all-star.
Yeah.
So, but after him, like, maybe there's a lively leap, but it's really hard for bigs. There's so many bigs. Like, who's he going to supplant? Like, with all of the really good bigs, including his teammate, Davis. And then Cooper it's really hard for rookies to make the All-Star team.
So that was actually a question from Jordan Stebbins. He said, do you think Flag can be an All-Star in his rookie season? If so, does that change your prediction on where the Mavs finish in the West? I can't right now, at least. I can't guess on what Flag's impact will be. If Flag is putting up like 16 and 8 and like 4 assists, there's going to be chatter around it. Like if he is raising the bar enough to where the Mavericks are playoff adjacent, top 6 adjacent, there's just going to be a lot of talk about it. Like this is something that we don't really talk about because it gets you into weird spots, but the white American superstar element plays a role. It just does. And so I'm very interested to see if that translates into like fan voting. I don't think it will. It's not like the Caitlin Clark effect because the NBA is an extremely popular league and it's not like Luka came in and like very nearly made the All-Star team his rookie year because he had such a fan element involved. Yeah. So I don't know if Flag has that yet, despite being pretty well known.
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't like a hater. Like there have been, I just looked it up because I needed to know. There's only been 2 rookies that have made the All-Star team since the new millennium, since 2000. Yao Ming in 2003 and Blake Griffin in 2011. So it's been, 14 years since the rookies made the All-Star team. So it's not like a knock on Cooper. It's just, it just doesn't happen. Like the last 3 were Blake Griffin 2011, Yao Ming 2003, and then Tim Duncan 1998. So like Luka didn't make it, LeBron didn't make it, Carmelo Anthony didn't make it. Like these guys that have had big rookie years, they don't. It's just hard. It's hard to make the All-Star team.
So related to this came up in an ESPN article, which since you weren't paying attention to the internet last week, you did not read. What was the last number 1 overall pick to be on a playoff team? It's tough.
Was it Duncan?
Thank God, it doesn't quite go that far back. Markelle Fultz.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, and then and he didn't even do anything that year.
Right. So Flag has a chance to make, like, it's just flag. It's a Flag adjacent thing. Like, if we all think, and right now, our last week pod, I said I think the Mavs have kind of a high floor and a low ceiling. That'll be why. So it's just a fun one. Let me see. Shout out to Lance Robertson for asking if we're still going live because we were so late to our show. That's actually a pretty good question there. Good one from CJ Bagelby. Besides navigating injuries and developing Flag, what are the biggest challenges Kid will face early in the season? Good one. Do you have any answers?
Oh yeah, it's going to be figuring out how to score points with 8 centers and 12 power forwards.
I mean,
that's the question of the season.
So this is the thing. Like, I am a Kid detractor. Like, he generally frustrates me, but I can't. It's worth acknowledging that he is a Hall of Fame player and was one of the best offensive minds in basketball. Like, he plays basketball like a 4-dimensional chess player. So if he can't orchestrate an offense around these guys, to me, that says there's not an offense to be orchestrated from this roster. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Like, I think he's a pretty, it's not like we're asking Mike D'Antoni to come in here and run his variations of a spread offense. Like, we saw the creativity the Mavericks ran with things once they decided to abandon Spencer Dinwiddie and Luka Ball. So I think that's a challenge, but it's like that's probably the most interesting challenge of the season. Other than that, I'm curious as to like how he navigates a lot of the minutes with these guys when everyone's healthy, because somebody's going to be pissed off unless he plays 4 forwards.
Yes. So. Like, who's coming off the bench? Is Klay Thompson coming off the bench? Someone that is expecting to be a starter will not be a starter on that opening night game against the Spurs. And I'm very curious who's it going to be.
So this is the last question, and this is a bit of a broader one from a friend of the show, Dalton Richard, who is a longtime supporter. Very grateful for how long he's listened to our show. He says, how does one reconcile or rekindle the simple fact of not enjoying the NBA ever since the trade went down? There's a lot of people that I've talked to that are like this, that are just like, I don't know. It's an emotional feeling where it's just like, I can't, the way this was removed from people, the way the Luka trade went down, the way it was then thrown at people. There's just a lot of bad feelings. Probably not the same thing, but it's like, it gives me like, what was it? The Montreal Screwjob vibes in wrestling, where it's just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I, at the moment, I don't really have any good answers, because it's like a lot of people have gotten on me for how I've behaved about it, but it's like, I'm an emotional person. And if you're not watching sports for some level of enjoyment, emotion related, then what are you watching it for? Like, I think that, to me, I've always taken a lot of solace in like the people that I'm watching the games with. That's been very important to me. Like the folks that I communicate with, but also like Flag just brings a lot to the table. Like, if we were talking about an Anthony Davis led team with somebody that we selected at number 12, you and I would be so full of shit with how like our levels of excitement, because it's just hard. But Flag is a get out of jail free pass for a lot of this. And you watch the guy warm up, you watch the videos that the Mavs have been posting about it. If watching him dunk on children at a sports camp, like, if that doesn't move you a little bit, then I would recommend taking a longer break from this until you want to try again.
Right. It's understandable, because like the Luka trade happened and then nothing good happened after that. Like, literally nothing good happened. Anthony, you had 18 minutes, whatever that first, 24 minutes of Anthony Davis, and then he got hurt and he went away and the team stunk. Then he came back clearly not himself, and the team still stunk, and they lost in the play-in, and they lost rather, I don't know, embarrassing.
It felt bad.
But yeah, it was, they got clowned on national TV. Like, there hasn't been one moment of, unless you're a sicko and you're like, well, I love watching, Kessler Edwards get a double-double. Like, if you're a casual, there's literally nothing for you to latch onto since the trade, except that Cooper Flagg's been drafted. So, yeah, like you said, see Cooper in a real game, not a preseason game. Wait for that opening night game against the Spurs. See what happens. And like you said, if it's still not there for you after watching a few games of Cooper, then yeah, you're going to need to take like an extended break until you can figure out whether, your fandom can recover from this. Because really, as a fan, you are insanely lucky in the sense that you don't get rewarded this quickly usually after your team does something this catastrophic. Like, realistically, like, the Mavericks could have been looking at 10 years of kind of aimlessness. And now they've got, the next best, one of the best prospects in the last 25 years gets dropped in their lap 6 months after they make what is, regarded as the worst trade in professional sports history. Like, that didn't happen. So, if Cooper doesn't do it for you, I don't know what's going to do it for you, because this is literally Mavericks drafting Cooper Flagg this quickly is literally the best thing that could happen in terms of you as a fan, in terms of being able to recover your enjoyment of the sport and the team. So if this doesn't do it for you, you just might not like basketball anymore. And I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I think now it's time to pivot to our final segment. Let's remember some guys. I've just decided on somebody I want to talk about. Why don't you go first though, while I think a little bit about who I want to talk about?
Okay. My first pick was back, from the mid 2000 Mavs. I'm going to go a little bit more recent, and this is funny because recent, this is 13 years ago, which like the Saving Private Ryan gif, Matt Damon is happening to me right now. I'm going to go with one of my favorite Mavericks ever, Brandon Wright.
Okay.
Love this guy. Loved him in the draft in 2007. Always thought he'd be like awesome for the Mavs, especially those later Dirk years. It was like, man, they just needed some like basically after Josh Howard kind of went away, they just didn't have any athletes around Dirk and Jason Terry, which was why when they got Marion and they got Tyson Chandler and they got Caron Butler, like before he got hurt, like that was probably the most athletic team Dirk had since like 2003. So I always loved Brandon Wright. Obviously the Mavericks were never going to draft him because he was a lottery pick and the Mavericks were too good to be in the lottery, and he kind of meandered around and like, he didn't really do anything. And then the Mavericks signed him, actually signed him in the summer of 2011, when, they decided to do Plan Powder. And I like instant just fell in love with him. He played only he played three and a half seasons, basically shot like 65% from the field for those 3.5 seasons. And again, he's a 6'10", 4'5" tweener that could jump a million miles and had like an 8-foot wingspan, it felt like. And he was so skilled, not like in the way we think of now, because when we think of, he's so skilled, we think, he dribbles like a guard and can shoot threes. His skill was just like, he just had a really smart feel for his position and his role. Like, he really knew how to work the pick and roll as a roll man. And like, there's more to setting screens and roll. Like, people are like, I remember I wrote a post about Dwight Powell and how good he is in the pick and roll and why that makes him a smart player. And I remember people were like, all he does is dunk. Like, that's easy. Any big guy can do that. I'm like, no, they can't. Like, there's more into being a pick and roll big than just setting the screen and aim. Like, you have to know timing and strategy. Go ahead.
And anybody that doesn't believe this, watch the Mavericks as they tried 13 different centers with Luka from 2018 until 2023, 24. Like, all the different super athletic guy, Willie Cauley-Stein. I mean,
McGee.
Just it's like timing is a skill. Sorry, I just want to say that.
And he was a great dunker, great finisher, great shot blocker. And he had like really good touch out to the free throw line. He didn't shoot a lot of jumpers, but like he had a nice little floater.
The shot didn't make sense. That floater made no sense. Every time you took it, it was like it gave me Sean Varian vibes.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
And he was a lefty, so that didn't help. It's like it just looked weird. But he was really good. I mean, he was incredible. He was one of the best paint finishers in the league in his time with the Mavericks, playing next to Dirk. Basically kind of being like imagine if you took Tyson Chandler and just made him super young and like could jump like 10 inches higher. Yep. Mark Falwell, the Mavericks television broadcaster, nicknamed him, I think, the helicopter for his alley-oops. He just had a lot of fun, and he was fun to watch. There was this post, I can't remember if I wrote it or if our friend, y'all would know him on the site as Hal Brown, Tim, real name Tim. He wrote for the site back in the early 2010s. He might have written this post, but like there's what this Kirk Goldsberry, when he first started doing his charts, he nicknamed this zone the dead zone, and it's outside of the restricted area, but inside the free throw line. So it's not that far away from the basket, but it's that awkward range where it's like you're not shooting a layup, but you're not shooting a jump shot. And I guess now it would be called the floater range, but it's like a little bit closer, like a little bit more closer than that, but not close enough to the rim. And usually you're shooting like contested junk shot, basically. Right. Junk shots there. He called it the dead zone because they're just highly inefficient because you're only getting 2 points and players would average like 48% from that spot of the floor, which was just not efficient enough. And Brandon Wright would shoot like 60% from those spots.
Just incredible. Like it was nuts.
He was just a really fun player to watch, unique in a way where he didn't shoot threes, but he was just really smart. He was like a high 60s, low 70s free throw shooter, which shows that like he did have touch for a big guy. Like not great, but like good enough. And he was just, he couldn't rebound. He was pretty rail thin, so he got boxed. He got boxed around a lot. Yeah. So he was a good rim protector in the sense that like when he contested shots, it was good, but he got shoveled out of position all the time. The first half of that 2014-2015 season before the Mavericks traded for Rondo, he was so good, and the Mavericks had the best offense in the history of the NBA up until that Rondo trade, with him and Tyson being kind of interchangeable alley-oop lob threats with Dirk spacing the floor. Zach Lowe called them the Smash Brothers or the Lob Brothers. I don't know which. I think it was the Smash Brothers was his nickname for them, which was perfect. So yeah, I've talked a lot about him, but
it's great.
I just loved him. He was fun. And he made those years post 2011 when everyone was just kind of pissed off because the Mavericks destroyed a title team and they didn't do what they said they were going to do, which was sign a big star free agent. And he made those years tolerable because those were some tough years to watch.
Dirk deserves all the blame for that trade because he wanted Rajon Rondo. He wanted Rajon Rondo. He didn't approve it. He told them to go get Rondo. Like there's, God, I mean, Jameer Nelson couldn't guard a tree. Like he was so bad on defense. But it's like we didn't care. It felt like kind of like the 02-03 Mavericks. Like
they were like NBA Jam and really.
Oh my God, it was fun. And it went from because the year before this was 2014-15, right?
Yeah, so the year before was 13-14.
13-4, or was it 12-13 that was really not fun? 12-13
was not fun.
That was the
500 beards.
All right, so before I do mine, I have a trivia question for you. Just a guess because this is fun. Completely unrelated to our show, but this is incredible to me. The New Heights show, which is the Kelsey brothers show, Taylor Swift just announced that she's going on the show. It's been an hour since the tweet went live. How many retweets do you think it has?
So a retweet announcing that Taylor Swift will be on the Kelsey brothers podcast.
Yep.
You saying views? Wait, how many?
How many retweets does that tweet have? It's fun. This is pointless, but it made me laugh because it's so ridiculous.
1.1 million?
No, I mean it says 37,000 retweets in an hour.
Okay,
that's still fun.
an hour. Okay,
yeah, in an hour.
That's a lot.
That's
How
a
many
lot.
Views.
Now views of that thing I can't tell, but it's got to be a gorillion. Is my answer.
I always go higher.
That's a good point. No, I mean a million. It's just incredible. That's probably going to be one of like most downloaded shows of all time of any podcast ever. All right, so the guy I picked, I was thinking about this. I've been batting back and forth about him because it's just like it's not fair to say that I was a fan, but it's worth. He's a guy worth remembering, and I really feel in history a much maligned Dallas Maverick. In the 96-97 season, the Dallas Mavericks made a trade for 24-year-old Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley went on to play nearly 600 games, regular season games with the Dallas Mavericks. He retired in 2004, 2005. He was having a lot of injuries. And even though he played 77 games the year before he retired, he didn't really like playing for Avery. And he really was kind of working himself out of the league. He was for anybody that really knows their basketball history, Bradley was at one point just a massive, 7'6", like he's one of the like 4 or 5 tallest players in the history of the league. He, took a break between when he left BYU. He went on his mission and then came back to play for the Sixers. But like, he was a monstrous college basketball player. Like, Bradley was just absolutely absurd. I mean, of course he was 7'6", but he was a killer. Like, he was a real absolute beast at basketball. And the reason I kind of wanted to talk about him is because I feel like he's, hopefully now that we're years removed, he was maligned as a Dallas Maverick. And I don't think it was fair. I think he was a professional. He was a good guy in the community. He did what was asked of him. And unfortunately, he also played the game at the same time as Shaquille O'Neal and some other true, like, just warrior and scary guys of the post, like the Jordan era. And he was just, he ended up working out. But I remember Bradley early on, him and Dirk. And, it's like his wife has talked about like how it's just like the things people would say about him, like in the crowd, not knowing she was sitting there. Like, people were really not fair to this guy. And I think all he did was show up to work and try to do his job. And I liked him.
Yeah. He was like the like pinnacle of people that were like, oh, well, you're only doing this because you're tall, like kind of thing. Because he would get dunked on and stuff like that. But what's funny is like he's only in the league because he's tall thing. He was very skilled. Like he had a nice jumper. He was a career 71% free throw shooter, so he clearly wasn't just like this tall guy that didn't have any skill. I think he made a couple of threes in his career. What's funny is I think he would have been awesome if he entered the league now.
So like, he played 1 year. He only played 1 year at BYU. His stats are hilarious. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks in 28 minutes a game. And then he took a year off and went to do his mission. And this is not, I'm reading into stuff. I wasn't there for this. I was 8 years old when he was drafted. But by all accounts, he came back and basketball was something he was good at, but it also wasn't necessarily his passion. And I think that's been evidenced by his post-playing career. Like, he was before he suffered this heinously awful bicycle accident, which has left him paralyzed. He was like, I think he was like a principal of the school. Like, he really kind of spoke, like, the man lived for a while, like, attempted to live to his values. And I think there's just something to me that I admire in that. And, there's always a little bit of the road not taken, or how do you do things differently, but like playing 832 games in 12 NBA seasons, let me just do the averages on that, because that's a lot of games. 832 divided by 12. I mean, he played 70 games a year as a 7'6" guy. Like, like, we could go through some of our favorite players in the Mavericks the last several years, and they haven't played 70 games a year for their careers. Yeah. I don't know. I admire him. And just
2.5 blocks a game for his. I mean, look, he played 12 years and he averaged 8-7 with 2.5 blocks per game. Like, that's a damn good NBA career. Like, come on now.
That's right.
Let's not be silly. Like, there are a lot of guys that enter not a lot of guys, which, because it's the best basketball league in the world, but there's a lot of guys who do enter the NBA that don't even sniff a career that good.
Yeah. Cowboy, one of the true Mavs historians that pays attention to our little podcast here, says Kirk, he was literally Donaldson's replacement. He came into the league a year after Donaldson went to the Knicks. he's just a guy, it's like he's had some health challenges. I think he's back in the Dallas area a little bit, maybe being taken care of. I don't think he necessarily goes to very much anymore just due to his physical limitations. 7'6" guy in a wheelchair, has real health challenges. But anyway, just was sort of thinking about him. It's funny. Like, I really wanted to do this whole remember some guys thing, and I just can't help myself but being pulled to these guys from the first 5 years I was a Mavs fan. There's just like that's
why you like this. That's why you're here.
That's right, but like not talking about Marquise Daniels every week is killing me. I just don't want to select him quite yet because it feels like playing to the bit too much. All right, we somehow managed to talk for 50 minutes. Is there anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, I mean, not really.
We have a cool series going on at Mavs Moneyball. You guys should check out every day this week. Our guy Michael did 41 questions to help the offseason move faster, where he broke that up into, I think, 5 different parts that's being posted. So it's the first part today, every part every day of the week. We're having some nice Wings coverage despite their goofiness. They're just a bizarre team. We'll probably have some things up about the schedule and have some more to talk about next week. But, we're just sort of eking along. We got to make it through August. I think September will bring us a lot more in terms of actual content.
Training camp starts in September. So
that's right.
There we go.
Okay, everybody be good. This has been Kirk and Josh. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and go Mavs.